The Southeast Region Cultural Resources Division preserves and protects, unimpaired, our nation's cultural and natural resources for the enjoyment, education, and inspiration of this and future generations, so that all may experience the collective expression of who we are as a people. In collaboration with parks and partners, the Southeast Region Cultural Resources Division supports stewardship through applied expertise in historic architecture, cultural landscapes, museum and archival services, history, and cultural anthropology.
Historic architecture helps to protect the historic structures in our national parks. They provide architectural services, including technical assistance, research, historic structures reports, and they also are responsible for ensuring parks Section 106 compliance, which helps to assess the impact of government activity on national cultural resources.
Cultural landscapes identifies areas that contain valuable natural and cultural resources, determines which of those sites retain integrity, and decides how to preserve and interpret those landscapes for the public.
Museum and Archival Services preserves and protects the thousands of artifacts of the parks in the Southeast region. They also provide assistance with archiving important documents at each park.
The History Office contracts projects, prepares research and documentation for various programs and studies, and provides technical guidance to both parks and community partners relating to National Historic Preservation Standards. The staff in the History Office writes special history studies, park administrative histories, historic resource studies, as well as National Register and National Historic Landmark nominations.
Ethnography assists the Park Service in understanding the association between past and present communities and parks, helping the Park Service to connect people, communities, and their history and heritage with the national parks.
What do you do to connect people to ancient cultures that are hard to imagine? Well, the Southeast region and the Cultural Resources Division is helping us do that. And one of the projects that they're working on right now is 3D imaging. And the 3D imaging will make these artifacts come alive. So you'll see every little, flint napping stroke that was used to make a arrowhead or a spear point. So you can know how these people crafted these things so they could hunt, so they could survive for years upon years upon years. You'll also know how they looked at the world by looking at some of those artifacts. And so they just didn't get up and survive. They also believed in gods. They believed in spirits. They believed in a life after. You'll know how they treated their dead. You'll know how they ate and what they ate. And you know how they cared for their family members and how they clothed themselves, and even sometimes the music that they listened to.
Our number one priority is to preserve the cultural resources, but we have to balance that with safety, visitor services, interpretation, and we really count on the Cultural Resources Division to help us do that.
All of our staff members work together, using their considerable expertise in various disciplines in the service of our national parks and continuing their legacy to the American people. Now that you've seen what we can provide you, remember that we're here to help. Don't hesitate to call or email us if you ever need our assistance.